yesterday. Hull plating deflected plasma strikes that should have burned through any alloy. Rail fire tore apart Dominion destroyers with surgical precision. The human ships moved like predators, silent, patient, then devastatingly fast. It wasn't just combat superiority, it was psychological. These weren't new war machines being tested in their prime. These were survivors of ages, forged when humanity still walked the stars, preserved in silence for the day they were needed. And when they moved like ghosts tearing holes in reality itself. The Dominion fleets broke. Commanders screamed retreat orders, but even running was futile. The human armada did not pursue recklessly. It advanced with cold inevitability, each vessel locking into ancient formations that eclipsed suns with their sheer scale. Shadows across the stars. The galaxy whispered as the reports spread. The Dominion tried to control the narrative, claiming it was an isolated malfunction of derelict weapons. But footage leaked. Every species saw it. Millennia-Old Terran hulls, igniting engines once again, moving with the confidence of storms reborn. The whispers grew into dread. If humans had left behind fleets hidden in the void, what else had they left behind? For 5,000 years, civilizations had thrived, believing humanity extinct. Now the black silence carried a new weight. Every unexplored nebula, every abandoned outpost, every dead world could hide another storm. What chilled them most was not the firepower but the patience. Who waits millennia in silence preparing? Who endures without signal, without presence, yet returns as if they had never left? Only humanity. The lesson of fire and silence. The Dominion abandoned the Kelthar expanse, declaring it a forbidden zone. But every captain who passed its borders swore they could see faint light in the dark, the glow of human engines, keeping watch. The galaxy understood a brutal truth. Humans don't simply vanish. They don't discard their weapons nor their wars. They bury storms, lock them away in iron, and let them sleep until the stars themselves demand awakening. The old saying of the Terrans, once mocked as arrogance, returned like a curse upon every tongue. We are never gone, we are only waiting. And so dread spread across every world. Because if this was just one graveyard, one arsenal forgotten by time, what else might be waiting to ignite? The galaxy had forgotten the sound of human war drums. For thousands of years, their name lingered only in the dusty corners of archives, mentioned in passing, like myths of civilizations that rise, burn, and vanish. The Veiled Dominion, the Triarchate, the Yajan guilds, all of them carried records of Earth, but only as a footnote. Humanity had burned bright, expanded recklessly, and then disappeared into silence. The alien historians agreed. The humans had been brilliant but flawed. Their wars consumed them, their empires crumbled, and their worlds fell quiet. For the last 3 millennia, the coordinates of Sol showed nothing but ruins, their colonies empty, their signals absent. The consensus was simple: humans were finished, extinct. The galaxy moved on. Yet some whispered unease. Their legends spoke of ships vast as continents, fleets buried in forgotten star systems, engines sealed but never dismantled. Superstition, said the Dominion. A scavenger's tale, said the guilds. For what fleet could survive untouched for millennia? And so confidence prevailed. The stars remained quiet until the silence cracked. The ghost signal in the graveyard. The first anomaly came from the Kelnari scouts, charting the Perseid drift. They reported a lattice of derelict stations drifting in the dark, webbed with dust, their metal hulls scarred by time. Among them, countless silhouettes rested, ships so massive they looked like small moons. They called it a graveyard of titans, an ancient battlefield frozen forever. The Dominion's council reviewed the scans. Engines, cold, weapons, inert, power cores, void, nothing but relics of a war long past. The younger officers laughed. If these are Terran vessels, then their ghosts have better engines than they did. But the signals didn't fade. Instead, the scouts detected faint pulses, rhythmic and precise. Not random cosmic noise, structured, deliberate. At first, the Council dismissed them as echoes of decaying systems, ancient reactors sputtering their last. Until the pulses shifted. Their frequency aligned with galactic standard code. The Dominion's archivists matched the patterns and their breath caught in their throats. The codes were Terran, military-grade ident beacons, still active after millennia. And they weren't dying out. They were growing stronger. The dead refused to stay silent. Panic gnawed at the Dominion halls. A debate fractured across their fleets. Could machinery truly endure so long? Were these signals some elaborate trick, a scavenger's attempt to frighten them away? Ships were dispatched to investigate. Their sensors swept the graveyard with careful beams, piercing the drifting dust. Hulls emerged, colossal and ancient, black against the stars. Their designs were unmistakable Terran warcraft, angular and brutal, built for endurance rather than grace. Some were larger than the Dominion's modern dreadnoughts, their armored flanks thicker than planetary defense walls. The investigators laughed nervously. Yes, they are impressive husks, but they are husks nonetheless. Then, one of the scouts reported movement. A shimmer along a cruiser's spine, a heat bloom rising in the void. The Dominion thought it impossible until the cruiser's running lights flickered to life. Red, white, blue. Engines that had slept for 3,000 years exhaled their first fire. The graveyard wasn't a cemetery. It was a barracks. When the graveyard breathed, one by one the titans stirred. Their hulls cracked away centuries of ice and dust. Guttering flames roared back into symmetry as reactor cores reignited. The stars around Perseid Drift dimmed beneath the glow of Terran warships coming alive. Sensors screamed warnings. Heat signatures, weapons calibrations, shield matrices forming. Thousands of vessels, long thought broken, moved as though time had never touched them. Dominion ships fled, but their retreat was not fast enough to escape the awakening storm. The Terran fleet spread its wings, ships maneuvering with eerie precision, as if guided by one will. Engines that should have rusted were flawless. Weapon banks charged with silent menace. And the codes, the codes still worked. Their signals echoed authority that Dominion systems could not deny. Lockouts failed. Counterhacks collapsed. The galaxy's most advanced firewalls bent under commands written before its nations were even born. The truth spread faster than the light of the engines themselves. Humanity's war fleet was not gone. It had been waiting. The storm breaks across the stars. The Dominion, desperate to reassert control, dispatched an armada. New warships gleaming with the latest technology rushed to confront the ghosts. They expected a spectacle of failures, ancient machines faltering before modern precision. Instead, the Dominion met annihilation. The first volley came from Terran battleships older than any living civilization. Their weapons tore the void open, beams of power striking with mathematical accuracy. Dominion shields collapsed in seconds, their hulls burning under firepower thought impossible for vessels so ancient. But it was not brute force alone, it was choreography. The human fleet moved with terrifying coordination, each vessel adjusting as though dancing to music only they could hear. No hesitation, no delay. The Dominion commanders screamed orders. Their ships scattered, launched counterstrikes, but every maneuver was anticipated, every attack answered. It was not a battle, it was a lesson, a reminder carved in fire and wreckage. The Terrans had built fleets not for their era, but for all eras. Within hours, the Dominion's proud armada was ash. Survivors limped into hyperspace, carrying tailies the galaxy would not believe. The ashen sky of revelation. Word spread like wildfire through the guilds and councils. The forgotten graveyard had become a fortress alive. The Dominion's defeat was undeniable. Entire fleets had been erased by vessels that should not have functioned. Across the galaxy, fear bloomed. If one graveyard could awaken, how many others slept still? Every shadow of derelict stations, every unmapped drift, every silent beacon became a source of terror. Were there more Terran arsenals waiting, sealed against time? Were entire fleets slumbering beneath the sands of dead colonies? The guilds whispered, humans do not abandon, they preserve. The Triarchate murmured, if this is what they forgot, what is it they remembered? The Dominion, humbled and bloodied, called for silence, hopping to bury the truth. But it was too late. The galaxy now knew. The Terran storm had only been resting. Whispers in the darkness. In hidden corners of space, alien leaders shuddered at new questions. Where were the humans themselves? Were they extinct? Or had they never truly left, watching from the shadows, waiting for their fleets to be needed again? Some claimed to hear voices in the signals, encrypted whispers buried deep within the codes, human commands written long ago, triggered by conditions only now fulfilled. A contingency plan spanning millennia. The thought